Hello everyone. So today I'm going to give you a little bit more information about sport nutrition. My name is Lisa and I am a coach at Lisa Coaching, which is my running coaching company. And first, I would like to start actually this webinar with this quote. So, your body is your engine and you need to fuel it properly to perform at your best. And in my opinion, this is something that people a lot of the time kind of forget. So, most of the people they start actually like limiting their calorie intake. They start limiting the foods they are allowed to take. And although I do understand where this is coming from, this as a runner and especially endurance runner is something very bad to do. So in this webinar, the first topics we will cover are the basics, so you have a better understanding just about nutrition on itself. Then natural supplements, so supplements you can just find in your food, and then additional supplements. It's going to be very interesting, so try to stick with me until the end. And if you need to pause or take some notes, please do so. So, the basics of nutrition during your training, so sport nutrition, is actually starting from minute 0. So, the moment you start running up until 60 minutes of running, it is very important to keep hydrated. You can do this by only drinking water, but honestly, I would actually recommend as well to take some extra electrolytes with you because this will help to keep the balance in your body neutral. Because what happens if your balance in the balance in your body is off, then you start experiencing cramps and you won't be able to perform your workout anymore. So if you're running between 0 minutes and 60 minutes, then I would advise to take some water with you and put some electrolytes in it. But once you start running over 60 minutes up until 90 minutes, then I would also advise to take some gel with you. Why this gel? Well, this gel will give you extra energy, and this energy is needed by your body to fuel properly for the kind of movement, the type of exercise that you're doing at that point in time. Then once you go over those 90 minutes, even if it's only like 5 or 10 minutes, then I would already advise to take 2 gels with you and also still the water with the electrolytes. Why to take the 2 gels? Because you're going, the moment you start going after those 60 minutes, your body is going to start tapping into the energy, so actually the glycogen, it's also called, that is available in your muscles. However, this glycogen, we do have quite a lot of it, but we don't want to have it depleted entirely, because what happens when it's depleted, first of all, it is quite difficult to fuel it up again, but it's also going to affect our day after. So if, for example, you're doing a morning run and afterwards you need to go to work, you will notice that you're not that concentrated, you might not be that productive, etc. That's because your energy levels are low. Also in the evening, it might even disrupt your sleep, and sleep is one of the most important recovery methods that exist. So therefore, very important to keep fueling during the training session, but also to bring your training session to a good end. So once you go over the 90 minutes, you take 2 gels. But what happens when we go training up to 2 hours, we start switching things up a little bit. So instead of first taking the water, we're going, first of all, start taking the gel, because we want to make sure that from the moment onwards, from the moment that we start, we keep fueling our body. So that's after like 30 minutes more or less, we start taking a gel. We keep throughout the whole session. Throughout the whole session, we keep hydrating ourselves. That's with the water and the electrolytes. It doesn't really matter if you take everything as like 60 minutes or you take like a little bit, maybe at like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes. Like if you just throughout the whole session take water, that's already fine. Then once we go over the first hour, so the first 60 minutes, we take another gel. But then it is actually very important that we start also combining a little bit the glucose, so the energy fuel that we find in the gels, then we also start combining it with fructose. And fructose we can find in, for example, dates, which you can see in here. We can also find it in figs, raisins, actually all dried fruit, and also in bananas. Why is it so important to start mixing fructose and glucose? Just because mixing those up has been proven scientifically that it will help against stomach pains and stomach cramps. That's a simple reason why we start mixing it up. Might not be that easy during runs, but if you can, it is advisable. That's also why I put it in between brackets. That is like the ideal theoretical word that you can fuel up. If not, then you might be more likely to experience those stomach pains, but it is also not ensured that you will get them. So that's also why every time you have to try and error what works for you. But theoretically, you start taking some fructose as well. And then it even becomes more complicated once you start training more than 2 hours. And then instead of only taking electrolytes in your water, you start adding carbs as well. So to make sure, as I said before, that you keep fueling properly. And instead of here, for example, I put it above the gel. So it's not that you have to take a gel and those dried fruits, because that would be a lot. But it's mostly advised to take one of them. So we have, again, like what I said before, gel, then water with carbs, and also still some electrolytes. But nowadays you can also find a mix, which is called most of the time like an iso mix. Very interesting to look into. And then either you take a gel or you take some fructose. Once you are over the 2 hours, you take another gel. Then you keep fueling with water that has carbs in it as well. And then once you go over those 2 hours and 30 minutes, you take another gel or some fructose. So that's a little bit how the strategy, like your nutrition during the event should be like. But there are also some things that you can do before and after your training that will actually enhance your sport performance. So one of those products is beetroot. And beetroot will help improve the blood flow and oxygen delivery to muscles, which, furthermore will enhance the endurance of your body. You can take beetroot. I think you can also already take beetroot supplements, but also just beetroot juice is fine. But then 100% beetroot, not with added, for example, apple, or just like a little bit of beetroot into other fruit juices, because that is not the same effect. And also beetroot, just like like the fruit, the vegetable on its own already has effects as well. Another one is caffeine. You'll probably already have noticed after your first cup of coffee in the morning, you feel more alert. Well, that's the same with your performance. That's why they advise you before, for example, like a 5K or 10K, where you have to be super explosive, alert, or whatever, to take a caffeine gel before starting it. But also, for example, in a half marathon, the second part, to also start take a caffeine gel to keep your alertness and to make sure you can push until the end. Then a new one is cherry and cranberry juice, because they are very rich in antioxidants, and antioxidants will help you again inflammations in your body. Inflammations in your body can be caused because of training, because training at the end is some kind of stressor that you put on your body. So a very good one if you are prone to infections or like injuries or some like nagging pains and whatever. But also if you're very prone, for example, for having a cold and those kind of bacteria. Turmeric, it's also a very good product for anti-inflammatory effects, and this you can use, or really like the picture that you see here, and then you just cut it, for example, in pieces, and you put it in your tea. But you can also use the powder to put on your food. So that's just like a very small thing you can do, but a small thing with big changes in there. One natural one natural electrolyte product that will help with your thirst is coconut water, because it helps replenish sodium, potassium, and other electrolytes that are lost when you are sweating a lot. So if you don't want to invest in those electrolyte tabs, or you want to keep your nutrition as natural as possible, then coconut water might be the thing for you. But be aware, it's not coconut milk, but really coconut water. So that's a big difference between the two of them. Also spirulina. Honestly, I haven't tried this one yet, but it's a nutrient-dense algae, and it provides natural energy boost and reduces exercise-induced oxidative stress. So what is meant with nutrient-dense? That it is high in calories. So maybe if you are like you have a very sedentary lifestyle, or you're not working out that much, this might not be the best supplement for you. But for example, for endurance athletes, ultra athletes, etc., it might be a very good source to add extra calories in their food without having to overeat themselves. Then also, excuse me if I'm not saying this correctly, but ashwagandha, it's another kind of fruit actually, which has been proven to reduce the stress hormones. Like I said before, when we are working out, we put extra stress on your body. So, and especially if you're working out a lot, this might be very interesting. And yeah, obviously, the lower your stress is, the better your endurance and performance will be. Another very well known is ginger. Ginger helps with muscle recovery and reduces inflammation again. So for example, if you make some tea with ginger and turmeric, you will really, and then obviously like you take it consistently, you will really start noticing the benefits of this. And then another big one that I always say to my clients to eat when they have an injury is omega-3, because it will help also with inflammation, support heart health, and it's also high in fat, but in the good kind of fat. So very important to not forget to eat our fats as athletes. And another one, or actually this is already one of the additional supplements, but this is one that has the most scientific evidence. That's also why I put it in front. It's collagen, and collagen is especially important for people starting mid-20s. I will come back to this later. But why? Well, I can already tell you a little bit, but it is especially important because collagen is a is produced by the body, but by the age of 20, the production starts slowing down and even decreasing. So to make sure that our joints and tendons are very healthy and they keep healthy, it is advisable to start taking collagen supplements mid-20s, late 20s, and especially once you reach like 30, 40, because then you start decreasing a lot. So collagen is one of the most important supplements you can take. Then also whey protein. This is especially for people who also combine their running with strength training. Or for example, if you're vegan and you struggle, or vegetarian and you struggle with getting in all the protein, then obviously you're not going for the whey protein, but you're going for the vegan protein. And this is actually like a really easy tool to ensure you have enough protein. Does this mean that everyone needs to start taking extra protein? No. Most of the time with a mixed and balanced diet, you get enough protein in. But if for some reason you feel like your recovery is not going well, it might be interesting and useful to start taking a protein supplement. However, when you buy your supplements, try to look for a protein powder that has as less ingredients as possible, because the more ingredients the protein powder will have, the more crap will also be in it. So really start looking for a protein powder that has only little ingredients in it. Then this is also a relative new one. It's called beta-alanine, and it will help against the lactate buildup that you will feel in your muscles. So this will help the feeling of fatigue, and therefore improve performance in high intensity. Very important to notice in high intensity or in longer duration exercise. So if your aim is just for running a 10K, half marathon, etc., this might not be the supplement for you. But if you're really preparing for a fast 10K or even ultra marathons, it might be interesting to think about beta-alanine. Then L-glutamine helps in the muscle recovery. It will also help boosting the immune system and reduce muscle soreness after long distance running. You can take this in a supplement, but sometimes I also add it to certain protein powders. So if your main goal is to improve your muscle soreness, then try to look for protein powders that also have L-glutamine in it. Iron, especially in female, this is very important because iron will help with the oxygen transport in and red blood cell production. As runners, we need a lot of our oxygen in our cells. So especially once you start feeling a bit more tired as a runner, it might be interesting to start taking a blood test and look for iron deficiency. at low iron levels. One way to increase the iron levels in your blood is by taking, after eating something iron rich, for example a spinach, something with a lot of vitamin C in it, such as for example like a kiwi, an orange, or whatever, and try to reduce the intake of caffeine after eating something iron rich for around like 3 hours. So 3 hours no caffeine after eating something with a lot of iron, because caffeine will actually reduce the absorption of iron. Calcium, very important for bone health, nerve function, and muscle concentrations, especially runners who, we put a lot of impact on our body, on our bones. So it is very important to keep eating enough of calcium to avoid stress fractures. Magnesium is very, very, very important for runners for the muscle function, but also for the prevention of cramps and fatigue. Magnesium will also help with calming down our muscles, so especially after a interval session, to have a good night's sleep, it might be interesting to take a magnesium supplement. Probiotics, very important for the gut health of runners, especially ultra runners who have a lot of trainings and might be more prone to suffering from gut problems. Probiotics might be the answer. I in the beginning had a lot of problems with my stomach. Once I started taking more probiotics, for example kombucha, yogurt, and also I started taking more Actimel. This has really helped with my gut health. So if you are into marathon distance, ultra distance, this might be something to also look into. Then this is also something more specific for one group of runners, which actually are the sprinters or 5K people. 10K might also be it, but mostly like short distances, because it will also neutralize lactic acid. And this is really if you go very, very, very much into your red zone. Then, as I mentioned before, electrolyte powders or tablets, very important because they help maintain the pH balance in our body. And if this balance is off, we will really start experiencing muscle cramps, etc. So electrolytes might even be one of the most important additional supplements that you can also take as a runner. Oh, this one is double in there. So to just say how important it actually is. And then over here you have like a little table, what kind of vitamins or supplements you can take as a runner. So when you start to run, electrolytes, which is interesting for everyone, protein if you're also doing strength training, omega-3 because it also is high in fat and it's anti-inflammatory, magnesium, iron, and vitamin D. Vitamin D is also important for every runner. Then if we go to 5 to 10K, it's more or less the same. 11 to half marathon is the same, but also above in this type of distance, it's also interesting to start taking gels, beta-alanine, beetroot, and L-glutamine. Marathon, all of the 11 and 21K, but also on top of that, probiotics and cherry cranberry juice, just to give your body that extra little help with the immune system. Ultra trail, all of the above, plus ashwagandha, because it's also with ultra trail running, you're putting a lot of stress on your body with all the additional training, not only running, but also cycling, maybe even mountaineering, strength training, etc. So it's a lot of stress on your body, and this product will really help reducing the stress. If you're going for a PB for the short distance, also creatine might be very interesting to take, and sodium bicarbonate. As I mentioned before, collagen is a very important supplement, but its natural collagen production begins to decline in your mid-20s. So especially endurance athletes might be advised to start taking it in their 20s, 30s to prevent joint deterioration. But once you start going into your 30s and 40s, collagen is actually one of the supplements you should take, yes or yes. However, everything that I'm saying in this masterclass is just extra information. If you are in doubt about any kind of maybe you don't have enough vitamin D or iron or whatever before really taking supplements, do a blood test to ensure that you're really taking the right supplements for you, because sometimes it might also be that it's actually another vitamin or mineral that you're short of. So to be sure that you're helping your body the right way, first take a blood test and then start adding more supplements into your diet. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you. And here you can find my WhatsApp number. Also, if you have any questions regarding this webinar, masterclass, or just about my coaching, you can always reach me on email. On my website, you can also find a lot of information. And if you are more than happy to keep receiving free tips and just also my insights that can help you improve your running performance, make sure to follow my Instagram. Thank you for so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in another one.